Chosen one. Stop and pay attention. Heaven has paused your steps because this word carries your name on it. You have finally crossed the line from struggle into victory. The weight you carried is lifting. The doors that once mocked you are swinging open. And the truth you must know is this: you did not lose. You endured. And you have won. Think of rain trapped inside a heavy cloud. The sky grows darker. The air feels heavy. And everyone wonders if the storm will ever break. Then suddenly, with no warning, the heavens split and water pours down. That is your life right now. Years of tension, years of waiting, years of pressure, and then, suddenly, the outpouring begins. Your story has been misunderstood. People thought you were stuck. They thought nothing good would ever come from your quiet seasons. But God was hiding you in plain sight. Like treasure buried in sand, you were covered, but not forgotten. Now the covering is removed, and the brilliance of your purpose is being revealed. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." Chosen one. Your morning has come. The dark night was real, but it was temporary. The tears were real, but they were seeds. The loneliness was real, but it was training. And now joy comes rushing like sunlight breaking the horizon. I know you remember the endless waiting. You asked, "Why is everyone else moving ahead while I am still here?" But like a pearl inside an oyster, your value was increasing in hiddenness. Pearls take time. Pressure takes time. And beauty is never rushed. That's why your unveiling now carries such weight. You are like a violin string stretched tighter and tighter. For years it felt painful, unbearable, like you would snap. But the master musician knew, only when stretched just right could you produce the sound that shakes atmospheres. And now, the sound of victory is about to be heard through your life. This word is not casual. It is not entertainment. It is confirmation. Heaven has already ruled in your favor. The scrolls of your destiny are being unsealed. What was delayed is now released. The mantle you thought skipped you has been placed on your shoulders. But there is something required of you. You must acknowledge it. You must mark this moment. Heaven loves agreement. When your voice aligns with what is written above, power is multiplied. That is why I call you to act. Write in the comments 555. This is your prophetic seal that you step into the season of grace and completion. Listen carefully. This is also a moment of connection. When you share this, you carry the sound of victory into someone else's storm. When you subscribe, you anchor yourself to a flow of words that strengthen your spirit. When you comment, you are not just typing, you are building an altar of testimony. Say it now with faith. This is my winning season. Let the words leave your lips. Feel how they shift the atmosphere inside you. For the first time in years, hope rises without fear of disappointment. Strength fills you again. Peace rests on your shoulders. This is not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It did. But the pain is no longer the ending of your story. The ending is victory. Written in bold letters across your life, you are stepping into morning, and morning always looks brighter than the night before. Chosen one. You have finally won, and nothing, not even the echoes of the past, can undo what heaven has already spoken. Chosen one. Hear me again. The crown placed upon you is not fragile. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be shaken. What God has sealed over your life is beyond the reach of human hands. You walked through nights that felt endless, but the dawn has broken. The season of carrying shame, of doubting your worth, has expired, and the fragrance of a new beginning rests on you now. Picture a prisoner stepping out of chains, blinking into the sunlight for the first time. That is how heaven sees you. Free, redeemed, victorious. Do not minimize what has happened. Do not explain it away as coincidence. This is not random. This is divine. Your life has shifted. Now, as you rise into this moment, remember, victory is not only for you. Your testimony will ignite someone else's faith. Your breakthrough becomes their confirmation that God is still moving. So stand tall, speak boldly, live as the one who has won. The earth is waiting for your light. Chosen one, this is your morning. Step into it fully. You often wondered why your life carried a different rhythm, while others seemed to move freely, laughing through ordinary seasons. You felt like you were walking a narrow path, unseen and misunderstood. That hiddenness was not punishment, it was preparation. God was not ignoring you. He was setting you apart. There is a mystery in why some are pulled aside. It is like a painter who sets one canvas away from the rest. Not because it is unworthy, but because the colors for that masterpiece require more time to dry, more patience to blend. That was you. You were the canvas set aside, waiting for the right season. You may have felt forgotten in the silence. Friends drifted away. Opportunities closed before you could touch them. Even prayers felt like they dissolved into the air without reply. Yet, in that emptiness, something holy was being built within you. You were learning endurance. You were learning to trust the unseen hand of God when nothing visible supported you. Consider the life of David. Anointed as king in his youth, yet sent back to tend sheep. Imagine the tension in his heart, knowing he was chosen, yet hidden in fields where no one saw him. While others enjoyed honor, he carried responsibility without recognition. But it was in those fields that his courage was forged. It was in the wilderness that he learned the sound of God's whisper. Your story carries the same thread. You too have been hidden, not buried. There is a difference. Burial is for the end. Planting is for growth. You were planted. Sometimes it felt like you were walking through fog, unable to see where the next step would land. And maybe, at times, you thought you had missed your way entirely. But listen, God never misplaces his chosen ones. The silence, the delay, the detours, they all carried purpose. They carved out in you a depth that speed could never give. Picture a diamond. Before it shines on display, it spends countless years pressed deep underground, unseen and unnoticed. The weight of the earth does not destroy it, it forms it. When the right time comes, it is unearthed, cut, and polished until its brilliance blinds the eye. You are that diamond. In your isolation, you wrestled with questions. Why can't I blend in? Why don't I fit? Others seemed content with shallow pursuits. But you could not silence the stirring within. That stirring was God's mark. It refused to let you settle. You were not made for mediocrity. You were shaped for destiny. The ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, still echo today. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Even the moments that felt wasted were weaving into purpose. The nights of heartbreak, the seasons of lack, the unanswered prayers, all of them were threads in a greater tapestry. And now, looking back, you begin to see the outlines forming. You were hidden to be protected. Had God revealed you too soon, those unprepared to celebrate you would have tried to crush you. He shielded you from premature exposure. He kept you away from the wrong company, the wrong stage, the wrong spotlight, because your destiny is weighty, and not every environment could handle it. Remember the story of Joseph, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, forgotten by men, but never forgotten by God. Each hidden chapter was a stepping stone to the palace. Without the prison, he would not have been prepared for the throne. Without the waiting, his wisdom would not have ripened. The same God who guided Joseph has guided you. In truth, your hidden season has been your greatest gift. It sharpened your vision. It deepened your faith. It made your spirit unshakable. And now that you stand on the edge of victory, you can see why the delay was necessary. Think of yourself as an arrow. Before it is released, it is pulled backward. The further back the tension, the farther forward the flight. That pullback was your preparation. It looked like regression, but it was set up. The release is coming, and you will soar further than those who never knew the tension. Chosen one. Your isolation was sacred. It separated you not to harm you, but to equip you. And when August 27th arrives, the unveiling will make sense. Everything hidden will be justified. Everything lost will be redeemed. You have been prepared in secret, and soon the world will witness what heaven has known all along. You were chosen, set apart, and destined to rise. You may not see it fully yet, but every trial you walked through was training. None of it was wasted. Every disappointment carved strength. Every heartbreak produced compassion. Every battle sharpened your discernment. What the enemy meant to crush you with, God secretly used as material to build you. Think of a soldier in the wilderness. He does not fight to be destroyed. He fights to be seasoned. The sweat, the bruises, the fatigue, they are part of the making. When the war truly comes, he is not fragile, because he has already been tested. That is you. Your battles have not broken you, they have prepared you. Sometimes it felt as if the blows were unfair, as if life kept striking in the same place until you thought you would collapse. But those repeated hits formed a resilience others cannot understand. You were stretched, and yet you did not snap. You bent, but you did not break. There's a quiet truth hidden here. Your scars are not signs of defeat. They are marks of survival. You carry proof that the storm came, but also that the storm passed. You stand today because God's hand upheld you. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah. Chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. And your enemies thought they had the final word. They mocked you, whispered lies, and left you for forgotten. But their words fell to the ground. Their weapons never reached your soul. Why? Because heaven had already claimed your victory. This is why your presence unsettles darkness. Without trying, You disrupt atmospheres. You carry a light that irritates those who dwell in shadow. They may not even know why they resist you, but their spirit recognizes the mark upon you. It is the mark of one who survived the fire. Think of a phoenix rising from ashes. What should have been the end becomes the beginning. What looked like ruin becomes renewal. That is what your journey has been. Ashes turned into wings. Now, I call you to leave a declaration in the comments. Fireproof. Why this word? Because it is more than a label. It is a statement of truth. The fire tried you, but it did not consume you. You went through the flames of rejection, betrayal, and despair. And yet here you are, still alive, still chosen, still moving forward. By writing Fireproof, you mark yourself publicly as one who refuses to be defined by what was meant to destroy you. It is not denial of your pain. It is testimony of your endurance. It is saying to every force of darkness, the fire lost its power over me. And here is the deeper layer. You may not even know who will read your words. Someone trembling in their own furnace will see it. They will pause and realize, if another chosen one made it through, then so can I. Your two simple syllables may become their lifeline. This is how God works. He turns your scars into someone else's survival guide. He takes your ashes and makes them a signal fire for others in the valley. You do not only stand for yourself, you stand as proof that victory is possible. Chosen one. Your scars are crowns in disguise, and every step you take forward now is proof that you are walking not as the wounded, but as the victorious. And this victory is not small. It is not a quiet whisper in the background of your life. It is loud. It is thunder echoing across the mountains of your past. The very things that tried to silence you will now witness your voice rise higher than before. You see, when God calls you fireproof, it means the flames could only refine you, like gold in the furnace. The impurities are gone, and what remains is stronger, brighter, unshakable. That is the meaning of your scars, not weakness. But refinement. So when you say fireproof, you are not just speaking about what you survived, you are announcing what you have become. You are declaring that you carry resilience forged in fire, wisdom carved through waiting, and faith unbreakable in storms. Do not underestimate the power of this one word. It is your anthem. It is your banner. It is your identity now. Others will see it and be reminded that God still rescues, God still sustains, and God still raises the ones marked by His hand. Chosen one. You are not fragile anymore. You are fireproof. And the world is about to see it. There is a shift that cannot be denied. The atmosphere over your life has changed. What once pressed down upon you now feels as though it has lifted. The verdict has been spoken in heaven's court, and it has landed in your favor. You may not see every detail yet, but you will soon notice the signs, small openings, gentle confirmations, sudden clarity in places where confusion ruled. These are the first fruits of your victory. It is like a courtroom scene. The accuser brings every failure, every weakness, every mistake as evidence against you. The weight of shame sits heavy. Then, the judge, righteous and holy, raises his hand. He speaks, and the entire room falls silent. This one is mine. The record is clean. The case is closed. That is what has happened for you. Not in a human court, but in the higher courts of eternity, This is why your spirit feels different. Something has been lifted. Chains you could not explain have loosened. You find yourself breathing easier, sleeping deeper, seeing brighter. Victory has a way of shifting even your body, even your emotions. It is important to understand, victory is not always loud in the beginning. It often starts as a whisper, like the first flicker of dawn on the horizon. It does not overwhelm, but it cannot be stopped. Soon, the light will cover the entire sky. That is how your victory is moving, quiet at first, unstoppable at last. The ancient record in the Book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 6 declares, "He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn, the justice of your cause like the noonday sun, and your cause has been justified. The wrongs you endured have been weighed, and justice is tipping in your favor, not by human systems alone, but by the divine hand that never forgets. God has seen the tears. He has seen the long nights. He has seen the weight you carried when no one else understood, and he has declared, 'Enough. It is finished. The battle is won.'" Think about a marathon runner. For miles, they feel the weight of exhaustion. Legs burn, lungs ache, and yet they keep moving. The finish line seems distant, almost unreachable. But then, suddenly, it appears. Energy floods back. The roar of the crowd fills their ears, and the pain no longer defines them. Instead, joy drives their final steps. That is where you stand. Now you are at the finish line, and the crown of victory is already extended toward you. Your life is stepping into a new rhythm, where confusion once stole your peace. Clarity will guide you, where lack drained your energy. Provision will surprise you, where betrayal cut you. Restoration will heal you. The shift is not imaginary, it is real, tangible, and divinely timed. For years, it felt as though nothing moved, like standing in a barren field, waiting for a seed to sprout that never seemed to grow. But beneath the soil, roots were spreading, unseen. And now, the breakthrough you prayed for is emerging. Shoots of green break the ground. Life that was always promised now reveals itself. Do not doubt the process you walked through. It was not wasted. Even the silence carried purpose. Like clay in the hands of a potter, you were being molded. Pressure shaped you. Seasons smoothed you. Waiting stretched you. What you thought was delay was actually design, and now the vessel stands ready, stronger, purer, and prepared to carry glory without cracking. Your victory is not only personal, it ripples outward. It will touch those around you. Even those who once doubted you, they will see the difference. And though they may not fully understand, they will know something beyond human explanation is resting on your life. Think of Joseph again, once a prisoner, then suddenly a ruler. His rise was not just for him, but for nations in famine who would survive because of his preparation. Your victory too carries purpose for others. What you have endured equips you to guide, to encourage, to lift. Your triumph is not selfish, it is seed for many. And so, as you stand here at the threshold of this new chapter, let the truth settle deeply. You have won. The battle is over. The judgment has turned. The chains have fallen. What was against you cannot hold you anymore. The horizon is brighter than you imagined. And this is only the beginning. Your story is no longer defined by what you lost. It is defined by what you overcame. Every scar is now a medal. Every tear is now a seed. And every step ahead is proof that God's verdict over you is final victory. There is something that begins to happen when victory touches your spirit. You begin to realize that life is not just about surviving anymore. It is about shining. The battles were real. The wounds were deep. But now, you walk with a new light. And that light is not only for you. It was given so others can see their way through the same darkness you once endured. It is like holding a lantern in the middle of the night, alone. The glow only lights your path. But when others walk beside you, the same light stretches, covering more ground, making the journey safer for everyone. That is what your testimony does. It multiplies its power when it is shared. You may have wondered why you are hearing this now. Why these words reach you in this season. It is because your story is not meant to remain hidden inside you. Just as God poured strength into you through storms, you are now part of a greater outpouring words. Encouragement. Light that extend beyond your own steps. The writings in the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 25 remind us, a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. Oh, there is a divine law hidden here. When you release what is in your hand, whether it is love, kindness, encouragement, or even resources, it returns, multiplied. The refreshment you give flows back into your own life in ways you could never calculate. This is why the call to stay connected is important. When you like these messages, it is not simply pressing a button, it is a way of saying, I agree with the light being released. When you share them, you are carrying a lantern into someone else's midnight, giving them hope they did not know they needed. And when you subscribe, you anchor yourself to a stream of words that will continue to remind you who you are, a chosen one, set apart, strengthened, and victorious. It becomes a way of choosing consistency over chaos, a way of letting truth revisit your heart again and again. Now, let me speak gently and clearly about something deeper. For some, God stirs a desire to plant back into the very well they are drinking from. This is what we call donating or giving. But hear me, this is never about pressure, never about transaction, and never about earning anything from God. His love and His promises are already yours. Think of it like planting a seed in a garden that already feeds you. You eat from its fruit. You rest in its shade. And one day, you feel stirred to place a seed back into the soil, not because you were forced, but because gratitude fills you. That seed does not diminish what you already have. It ensures that the garden will continue to grow, reaching others who are still hungry. If you ever feel stirred to donate, see it as that kind of seed. Not payment, not obligation, but an act of partnership with the flow of encouragement that has already refreshed you. And in return, according to God's own promise, you will find yourself refreshed again. But if you are not in the place to give, hear this with peace. You are no less loved, no less chosen, no less covered. The word you are hearing now is already God's gift to you. What matters most is that you allow the victory written over your life to take root, that you continue to walk in strength, continue to stand in light, and continue to believe that what was against you has been overturned. And when you do engage by liking, by sharing, by subscribing, or even by planting a seed of donating, know that you are part of something bigger. You are not just receiving light. You are helping carry it into places still shadowed by despair. Chosen one. Remember, your voice, your presence, your life matters. Just as you were once pulled from the fire, you will now be used to pull others out too. And together, we become like a constellation in the night sky, each light shining alone. But when connected, forming a map that guides wanderers home. So carry this truth gently in your heart. You are not pressured, but you are invited. Invited to walk, to share, to partner, and to shine. Every step is voluntary. Every act is free. And every offering is fragrant in heaven's sight because it comes from love, not compulsion. This is the beauty of being chosen. Your story is already a gift. Your light is already powerful. And your generosity, whether through words, through sharing, or through planting seeds of donating, only multiplies the impact. And as you continue forward, never forget, you have already won. And now, the victory is not yours alone. It is a river flowing through you, refreshing everyone it touches. There are moments in life when God draws a line in the sand. A boundary is marked, not by human hands, but by His Spirit. And you are told, do not cross lightly. August 27th is such a line for you. It is not simply another date on the calendar. It carries weight. It carries assignment. It carries prophecy. Think about how certain days in Scripture were remembered for generations. The day Israel crossed the Jordan. The day fire fell on Mount Carmel. The day the stone rolled away from the tomb. Those moments were not ordinary. They were markers of heaven's intervention. August 27th is written as one of those markers for your journey. On that day, separation will matter more than ever. It is not about fear, but about focus. God is calling you into a place where outside voices cannot contaminate the clarity He wants to give you. Like Moses on the mountain, like Elijah in the cave, like Jesus in the wilderness. Your strength will come not from being surrounded, but from being set apart. It is easy to underestimate how environments shape us. A single word spoken by the wrong person can plant doubt that lingers for years. A single distraction can blur a clear instruction. That is why heaven warns, guard your space on this date. What is being poured into your spirit is too holy to risk being diluted by noise. The Word of God declares in the book of Joshua, chapter 3, verse 5, consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you. Consecration simply means to set yourself apart, to make room for the sacred. August 27th is a consecration moment, not because God is weak without it, but because your vessel must be clean and ready for what He is about to pour in. Picture a potter about to fill a vessel with fresh oil. If the vessel is surrounded by dust and dirt, the oil can be contaminated, but when the vessel is lifted aside, wiped clean, and placed on a higher shelf, the oil flows pure. That is you. On this day, you are the vessel God desires to fill. This is not about isolating yourself forever. It is about honoring a prophetic appointment. You are stepping into alignment with a divine timetable, and like a train that only arrives once, you must be ready at the station when it comes. So what does it mean practically? It may mean saying no to gatherings, even with people you love. It may mean silencing your phone for a day. It may mean pulling back from the crowd so you can hear the whisper of God without static. It is not rejection of others, it is preservation of your assignment. You might be tempted to think, will it really matter? Yes, it will. Because this day is not about routine, it is about revelation. It will be the moment when hidden instructions, long-awaited confirmations, and long-delayed breakthroughs begin to manifest. And here is what you must know. Obedience in small things unlocks favor in greater things. If you guard this day, heaven will open doors that no man can shut. If you honor this boundary, you will step into blessing that no enemy can touch. Imagine a farmer who waits all season for rain. He knows the exact day the clouds will break. If he prepares the soil, the rain soaks in and fruit grows. But if he leaves the ground hard, the water runs off and nothing takes root. That is the difference between honoring and ignoring this call. Chosen one, your preparation is not wasted. Your listening is not foolish. Your separation is not strange. It is sacred. Now I invite you to mark this moment with a prophetic act. Write in the comments, 888. Why this number? Because it symbolizes new beginnings beyond completion. 7 represents the finished work. But 8 represents stepping into what is beyond resurrection. Overflow. A cycle renewed. By writing 888, you declare, I am ready for what comes after the waiting. I am ready for the unveiling. Do not underestimate this act. It is not superstition. It is agreement. Heaven has drawn the line, and you are choosing to stand on the right side of it. When you write 888, you are not only preparing your spirit, you are stamping your name on the page of destiny for this exact season. Chosen one. August 27th will not pass you by. You are marked. You are sealed. And you are ready. Separation is never easy. Humans are made for connection, for laughter shared, for voices filling the quiet. Yet there are moments when God whispers, step back, not because he desire loneliness, but because he desire clarity. August 27th is one of those moments when clarity must be guarded more than company. There is a spiritual law hidden in plain sight. Proximity carries power. Being near the wrong voices can drain you faster than you realize. Words spoken carelessly, attitudes carried lightly, can plant seeds that choke your faith. God knows how fragile the soil of your heart is when he is about to plant new instructions. And so he shields you by pulling you aside. Think of a delicate flame just beginning to rise. When surrounded by strong winds, it risks being snuffed out before it has time to grow. But when protected, even briefly, that flame can grow into a steady fire capable of lighting an entire house. That is why separation is required, not forever, but for a moment, so the flame within you is not extinguished before its time. Your victory has placed a target on you. Darkness senses that something has shifted. It cannot undo what God has sealed, but it can attempt to distract, to dilute, to divide. That is why guarding your space is not optional, it is essential. There is also a deeper reason. When you are surrounded by others, your spirit can become tangled with their expectations, their opinions, their noise. But when you step away, your own voice rises. Your prayers become sharper, your thoughts clearer, your discernment stronger. Silence becomes holy ground. The ancient scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1, carries these words: I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me, and what answer I am to give. Oh, do you see it? Separation is not abandonment, it is positioning. Just as a watchman climbs to higher ground to see further, you too are being invited upward. On August 27th, God is lifting you above the noise, not to punish you, but to grant you vision. Imagine a photographer adjusting the lens of a camera. At first, everything is blurred, colors bleeding into one another, but with a twist, focus sharpens, days emerge. Beauty that was hidden becomes visible. That is what this day of separation will do for you. God is twisting the lens of your life, so you can finally see the details He has been waiting to reveal. This is why you cannot afford to compromise it. Even one careless voice in your ear could distort the clarity meant for you. Even one unnecessary distraction could cause you to miss the whisper that changes everything. Look again at the lives of the prophets. Elijah was called into caves. Moses was summoned up mountains. Daniel prayed alone behind closed doors. Jesus himself withdrew often to solitary places to pray. Each of these moments carried the same truth before glory is revealed publicly. Consecration happens privately. Your own separation is not a curse. It is a sign that you are carrying something weighty. Not everyone receives such an invitation. It is given to those heaven trusts. You are among them. So, let your heart rest. Do not fear being misunderstood. People may question why you withdraw, why you choose silence over company. But you are not accountable to their opinion. You are accountable to God's timing. And His timing is precise. Think of a pearl still hidden inside the oyster. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be pried open by curious hands. It must stay sealed until the moment of unveiling. If revealed too soon, its beauty is damaged. But when the time comes, it emerges flawless. That is you. The separation is not punishment. It is protection of the pearl within you. And when the 27th arrives, you will know. Peace will confirm it. Strength will fill you. Vision will open. You will not feel abandoned. You will feel chosen. The quiet will not feel empty. It will feel charged with presence. Separation always carries a promise. What comes after is greater than what came before. Hold fast to this truth. The silence will speak. The solitude will strengthen. And when you step out from the stillness, you will not walk as the same person. You will walk as one who has seen, who has heard, and who now carries clarity impossible to deny. For in the hidden place, God is not subtracting, He is multiplying. Every moment of silence becomes a seed, and when it breaks open, your harvest will speak louder than words. There comes a time when separation transforms into something greater. Consecration. To be consecrated is to be set apart. Not merely pulled away from people, but positioned closer to God. It is a sacred mantle, heavy yet beautiful, that rests only on those chosen to carry it. And now, that mantle rests upon you. The human heart often resists such seasons. We crave familiarity. We crave noise. We crave the comfort of being surrounded. But consecration calls you into a different rhythm. It asks you to walk barefoot on holy ground, to listen more than you speak, to wait more than you act. And in that waiting, power is hidden. Imagine a sword being forged. The blacksmith heats it in the fire, then pulls it out and hammers it against the anvil, shaping it blow by blow. Once it takes form, he does not hand it immediately to the warrior. Instead, he plunges it into the water, allowing the steel to cool, harden, and settle. That cooling process is consecration. Without it, the blade would shatter in battle. With it, the blade becomes unbreakable. That is what God is doing with you. The fire of trial has already shaped you. The hammer of hardship has already refined you. But now he calls you into consecration, the cooling stillness that makes your strength permanent. The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 7. Declares, "Consecrate yourselves and be holy, because I am the Lord your God." End quote. This command is not about perfection, it is about posture. To consecrate yourself is to choose God's presence above all else. To make room for His voice, even when the world clamors for your attention. It is to say, "I am not common, I am chosen." End quote. Consecration looks different for each person. For some, it may mean fasting from certain distractions. For others, it may mean carving out hours of quiet reflection. For you, on this appointed day, it means stepping into sacred solitude, guarding your atmosphere, and allowing heaven to pour wisdom into your spirit. Consider the prophet Samuel. As a child, he lay in the temple at night, separated from the noise of the people. When he heard God's voice for the first time, had he been anywhere else, the call might have been drowned out. But consecration placed him in position. He heard, he answered, and his destiny was sealed. In the same way, consecration is not about what you lose, it is about what you gain. You are not stepping away from people forever. You are stepping closer to God for a moment that will shape the rest of your journey. Think of a painter working on a masterpiece. He does not allow constant eyes to intrude on the process. The studio remains closed, the canvas hidden, until the brush strokes are complete. Only then is the masterpiece unveiled. Your consecration is that hidden studio heaven is painting on the canvas of your life. And until the strokes are finished, the door must remain closed. Do not despise this call. It is not given to all. Some walk their entire lives in noise, never set apart long enough to hear a whisper of destiny. But you, God trusted you with consecration. He saw that you would carry it, that you would honor it, that you would guard it, and in return, He will honor you. Your mantle of separation also serves as a shield. Think of how a shepherd draws certain sheep aside when danger approaches, guiding them to a safer pen while others remain exposed. That is what your consecration is doing, shielding you from attacks you do not even see. On the surface, it may feel like absence, but in reality, it is presence, the presence of God overshadowing you, covering you, preserving you for what is next. One day, when the 27th has passed and the unveiling begins, you will look back on this season of consecration and understand. You will say, "Had I not obeyed, I would not have seen. Had I not stepped away, I would not have heard. Had I not guarded my space, I would not be ready." This is why consecration is never wasted. It prepares, it protects, it positions. And when its work is done, the mantle will lift and the mission will begin. Chosen one. The call to consecration is not to shrink you, but to strengthen you. It is the bridge between your hidden battles and your public breakthrough. Honor it, and you will step forward clothed, not in weakness, but in glory, when victory is sealed over your life. Do not think it goes unnoticed. Even before you see the full manifestation, your enemies can already sense the shift. Darkness trembles when light begins to break through. Opposition rises, not because you are weak, but because you are becoming unstoppable. Think of animals in the forest who sense an approaching storm before the sky even darkens. They grow restless. They shift uneasily. They scatter in fear. In the same way, your spiritual adversaries sense the change. They know your season of waiting is closing. They feel the weight of the mantle resting on your shoulders. This is why certain people have acted strangely toward you lately. Words spoken in envy, glances filled with discomfort, unexplained tension in the air. It is not personal. It is spiritual. Their spirit reacts to what yours carries. They may not understand it, but they feel it. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil." Your battle has never been about human faces. It has always been about unseen powers trying to suppress what heaven released over you. But take heart, they cannot prevail. The seal on your life is untouchable. Think about Joseph again. Long before the palace, his brothers hated him because of the dream, not because he had the throne yet, but because the dream itself carried weight. In the same way, your enemies oppose you not because of where you stand today, but because of where you are destined to stand tomorrow. And yet, you do not need to live in fear. The opposition is only proof of your advancement. Resistance is evidence that you carry something valuable. If you were ordinary, the darkness would not waste energy on you. The pressure around you reveals the treasure within you. Imagine a lighthouse standing tall against crashing waves. The storm may rage, but the light does not flicker. In fact, the darker the storm becomes, the brighter the beam appears across the waters. That is you. Your presence exposes what others try to hide. Your victory sends a signal into enemy territory that their plans have failed. Now, I invite you to put words to this truth. Write in the comments, "Unshaken ground." Why this phrase? Because it declares what the enemy could not accomplish. They tried to shake your faith, but you still believe. They tried to break your foundation, but you still stand. By writing "Unshaken ground," you are testifying that your life is anchored in something stronger than storms. And here is the deeper meaning. Ground that remains steady becomes the place where others can safely step. When you declare "unshaken ground," you are not only speaking over yourself, you are also creating a safe path for those who come after you. Someone weaker may step onto your declaration and find stability for their own trembling faith. So write it not as empty words, but as a prophetic marker. Your enemies already sense it. Heaven already knows it. And now you must proclaim it. You are unshaken, and you will not be moved. This is more than resilience, it is identity. You are not surviving by accident. You are standing by design. God Himself has planted your feet where storms cannot uproot you. Think of a tree by the riverside. Its roots dig deep into living water. Storms may bend its branches. Winds may strip its leaves, but the trunk does not topple. Why? Because its roots are anchored in what never runs dry. That is you. Your roots are not in people's opinions or in fragile circumstances. They are in the living Word, in the eternal presence of God. When you declare unshaken ground, you are reminding your soul where your roots truly are. You are silencing the lies that told you your story was finished. You are proclaiming that no matter what was thrown against you, you have endured, and you remain. Others will look at you and marvel. They will say, "How did you not collapse? How did you keep standing when everything fell apart?" And your answer will not point to your own strength. It will point to the one who held you. This is your testimony. This is your authority. You are unshaken. And that reality is unbreakable. And as you step forward, remember, unshaken ground becomes unshakable destiny. What once threatened to bury you now becomes the very platform God uses to display His glory through you. When heaven places victory on your life, the first thing that changes is the way you see yourself. You begin to walk taller, not with arrogance, but with awareness. You sense that something has shifted within you, something irreversible. But what you may not realize is this: when you rise, you also lift others with you. It is like a candle flame lighting another. The first flame does not lose its fire. Instead, the room becomes brighter. Your breakthrough is not just for you. It is a spark that ignites courage in those still sitting in the shadows. That is why these words reach you today. Not to entertain you, but to remind you that your journey has purpose beyond yourself. Every scar you carry, every valley you walk through, becomes a bridge for someone else. The Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 4, "He comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we receive from God." This is the rhythm of heaven. What you receive, you also release. The comfort that once rescued you now becomes the comfort you extend. The strength that pulled you out now becomes the strength you share. And here is where your participation matters. When you like a message such as this, it is more than digital interaction. It is as if you are saying, "Yes, I agree with this flame. Let it burn brighter." That simple act helps carry the light further, so it doesn't stay hidden in one corner. When you share, you are planting hope in soil you may never see again. Think of a farmer scattering seeds on the wind. Some fall near, some fall far, but each one has the potential to root in a life desperate for breakthrough. Your share might be the exact seed someone needs to keep going one more day. When you subscribe, it is not just about receiving updates. It is about building consistency, like returning to a well where you know the water is pure. You come back again and again because you have tasted the refreshment and you know it strengthens you. Subscribing is choosing not to wander thirsty. And then there is giving, donating. This word often carries weight, but hear it differently. It is not payment, and it is not obligation. It is a gift. Think of it as pouring a little oil back into the very lamp that has lit your path. That oil does not just keep your own flame alive, it ensures the light continues for others still searching. Imagine a river. It flows freely, giving life to everything. It touches trees, animals, fields, people. But what keeps the river alive is the rain that returns to it. Without replenishment, even the strongest riverbed dries. When you choose to donate, You are like the rain returning to the source, ensuring the river of encouragement and light does not run dry for the next traveler. And know this, giving is never demanded. It is always invited. It is a beautiful choice, made from gratitude, not from fear. If you are not in a position to give, you are still covered, still chosen, still part of this flow. Nothing can take away the gift already spoken over you. But if your heart ever stirs to sow, do it joyfully, because giving always multiplies. A seed released never returns empty. It finds soil. It grows. It bears fruit in ways you cannot measure. And so, chosen one. Whether you engage by liking, by sharing, by subscribing, or by donating, each act is part of a tapestry greater than you realize. You are not just receiving light, you are helping build a network of lanterns across the earth. Picture the night sky. One star alone is beautiful, but when many shine together, constellations form maps written in light. That is what happens when we each play our part. Your one light joins another, and suddenly the sky is filled with patterns that guide the lost home. So, hold this truth gently. You are invited, never forced. Every act of engagement is a choice of love, and every choice of love carries eternal weight. At the end of the day, remember this, your story is proof that light wins, and because you now carry that light, you will not only shine for yourself, you will help ignite a world still waiting for dawn. And so, as you move forward, carry this certainty. Every click of love, every seed of generosity, every choice of connection is never small. It is eternal light, multiplying far beyond your sight. Obedience is never measured in words alone, it is proven in action. You have been given clear instructions, and now the test begins. Will you listen? Or will you drift back into the comfort of what once was? Many fail this part. They receive revelation. They feel the stirrings of destiny. But when the moment of obedience comes, hesitation steals their strength. They convince themselves that the instruction is too small to matter. But in the kingdom of God, there are no small obediences. Each step carries eternal weight. Think of Noah. The command seemed strange. Build an ark when there was no sign of rain. For years, he endured ridicule, laboring in obedience, while others mocked. Yet when the floodwaters rose, his obedience became the doorway of salvation. Obedience often looks foolish in the eyes of men. It may require you to say no when everyone else says yes. It may pull you into silence when the world demands noise. It may push you into action when others hesitate. And still, it is in obedience that heaven's favor multiplies. The Word of God declares in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 22, "Do not merely listen to the word, and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says." Oh, listening alone does not unlock the promise. Acting upon it does. Hearing without doing is like gazing into a mirror, seeing your reflection, and then forgetting it the moment you turn away. But when you act, the reflection becomes reality. This is why August 27th is more than a date. It is a test of obedience. It is an invitation to step into alignment with God's timing. Even if others cannot understand, imagine a key turning in a lock. For years, the door has been closed, unmoving. You have stood in front of it, prayed for it, even pressed against it, but it would not open. Then suddenly, the right key is placed in your hand. All that is required is a simple turn. Obedience is that turn. It may feel small, but it is the action that releases what has been waiting behind the door all along. There is a subtle danger in delay. When instructions are clear, hesitation is costly. Not because God withholds love, but because timing is sacred. A seed planted out of season will not produce fruit, no matter how good the soil is. Obedience is about planting at the right time, in the right way, with the right heart. Think about Abraham, called to leave his homeland. He did not know the full map, yet he obeyed step by step. Each movement positioned him closer to the promise. Had he waited for clarity in every detail, he would have remained in the same place, unmoved. His obedience became the pathway to inheritance, and so it is with you. The details may not be clear, but the instruction is to step aside, to guard this date, to honor the consecration that is your act of obedience. You do not need to understand everything to obey. You only need to trust that the one who called you sees further than you do. Picture a shepherd leading sheep across rough terrain. From their perspective, the path looks confusing, even dangerous. They cannot see the green pasture ahead, but the shepherd sees. He guides, not with explanations, but with direction. The sheep that obey reach rest. The ones that wander risk harm. This is the weight of your moment. You are being asked not to figure it out, but to follow. And know this: obedience is never one-sided. What you release in obedience, God multiplies in return. Every time you lay down your will, you make room for His. Every time you surrender your comfort, He fills you with strength. Every time you obey, He writes your name deeper into His story. Do not despise the test. It is not punishment, it is proof. Proof that heaven trusts you. Proof that you are ready for more. Proof that you can be entrusted with weightier assignments. Because you honored the smaller ones, you are standing at a threshold. On one side lies the comfort of the familiar. On the other, the promise of the unknown. The bridge between them is obedience. Take it, and you will not regret it. Chosen one. Let this truth steady you. Obedience today secures breakthrough tomorrow. Walk in it, and you will find that what once seemed impossible is suddenly within reach. For obedience is the language of trust. Each step you take declares, I believe God more than my fear, more than my doubt. And that declaration shifts unseen mountains in your favor. There are seasons when God does not just speak, He confirms. You have walked through silence, through testing, through waiting. Now the whisper becomes a sign, and the sign becomes a seal. This is the hour of confirmation. You may have noticed unusual patterns lately. Encounters that feel more like messages than coincidences. Dreams that linger in your spirit longer than ordinary thoughts. Even nature itself sometimes bends to speak, a bird pausing at your window. Numbers repeating on a clock. A conversation overheard at just the right moment. These are not random. They are heaven's fingerprints, assuring you that the path you walk is guided. The prophet Isaiah recorded these words in chapter 30, verse 21, whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, this is the way, walk in it. And confirmation is God's kindness. It steadies your trembling heart and strengthens your weary steps. He He does not always give you the entire map, but he gives enough light for the next step. That light is the confirmation. Think of a sailor navigating at night. He cannot see the entire ocean, but he trusts the stars above him. One by one, they mark his course, assuring him that he has not drifted. That is what God is doing for you now, aligning the stars of confirmation so you will not lose your way. And these signs will not come only once. They will come repeatedly, echoing until you can no longer doubt. Like ripples in water, the same message will meet you in different forms, from different directions, until your spirit knows, this is God speaking. But remember, confirmation is not entertainment, it is instruction. When God confirms, He is not only comforting you, He is also preparing you to move. To ignore confirmation is to waste grace. To honor it is to step into alignment. Imagine a doorbell ringing at your house. If you ignore it, the visitor may leave. But if you answer, you encounter what was meant for you. Confirmation works the same way. It invites response. Chosen one. August 27th will not come without these signs. God will mark your path in advance, so you are not unprepared. Watch for them, guard them, and when you see them, let your spirit answer, yes, Lord, I hear you, are, and here is how you can respond right now. Write in the comments, 4,444. Why this number? Because 4 speaks of stability north, south, east, west, foundation and structure, and when repeated, it amplifies. By writing 4,444, you are declaring, my steps are set on stable ground. I am confirmed. I am aligned. Do not underestimate this. Numbers themselves are not magic, but they become markers. They are like memorial stones Joshua placed after Israel crossed the Jordan, so future generations would ask, what do these stones mean? And the story would be told again. Your comment becomes such a stone visible, undeniable, a record that you have seen and agreed with heaven's confirmation. Others will pass by and see it. Some may not understand, but those who need it will recognize it. They will know they are not walking alone. And together, a chorus of confirmations will rise, each voice echoing the same truth. God is still speaking, and His chosen ones are listening. So lift your eyes, steady your heart. The signs are not fading, they are increasing. And with every confirmation, the distance between you and your breakthrough grows shorter. And think of how gentle God is with you. He could have commanded once and expected blind obedience. Instead, He confirms again and again, like a father holding his child's hand, reassuring with every step. Yes, you're going the right way. These confirmations are not meant to overwhelm you, they are meant to comfort you. They show that God sees the weight you carry, the questions you wrestle with, and He chooses to answer in ways you cannot mistake. Sometimes the sign will come through scripture that seems written only for you. Other times, it will come through a person who speaks words they do not even realize. Echo your private prayers. At times, it may be nature itself, rain falling just as you whispered, a request for cleansing, or light breaking through clouds after a night of wrestling. Each confirmation is a love letter disguised as circumstance, and when you recognize it, your faith grows. Doubt loses its grip. hope stands taller. So let your eyes remain open, your ears attuned, and your heart soft. For the more you notice, the more you realize you are not wandering, you are being guided, step by step, toward a destiny already prepared. There are treasures that heaven keeps hidden until the right moment, blessings prepared long ago, written into your story before you ever breathed your first breath. For years they have been withheld, not because God was denying you, but because He was preparing you. And now, those treasures, your inheritance, are being released. Inheritance is not something you earn. It is not a wage for your labor. It is a gift given because of identity. A child receives what belongs to the family, not because they achieved perfection, but because they belong. And you belong. You have been grafted into the family of God, marked as His chosen, and therefore the inheritance is yours. The Apostle Paul wrote in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 17, "Now, if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God, and co-heirs with Christ. If indeed we share in His sufferings, in order that we may also share in His glory." Now, do you see it? Your inheritance is not abstract. It is tangible. It includes peace where there was torment, provision where there was lack, healing where there was pain, restoration where there was loss. Every place the enemy tried to rob you is now a place heaven desires to repay. Think about Joseph once more, sold into slavery, cast into prison, yet eventually seated in a palace. His inheritance was not just personal blessing, it was the authority to feed nations. What once looked like loss became the very doorway to abundance. Your journey mirrors this truth. Every delay, every valley, every tear has been accumulating interest in heaven's treasury. Nothing was wasted. The years the locusts consumed are being restored with multiplication. The inheritance withheld until now will not arrive in fragments. It will come in fullness. Imagine a dam holding back a vast reservoir of water. For years it seems as though nothing flows, as if drought has the final word. But the water has been there all along, building, pressing, waiting. And when the dam finally breaks, the flood cannot be stopped. That is what inheritance feels like. A sudden outpouring after years of silence. It may come as unexpected opportunities, as favor in rooms you never thought you'd enter, as provision in places where you once struggled. It may come as reconciliation with those once estranged, as strength in your body, as clarity in your mind. However it arrives, you will know it is the inheritance of the chosen. And remember, inheritance is generational. It does not end with you. What God pours into your life spills over into your family, your community, even those not yet born. Just as Abraham's obedience birthed promises that touched countless generations, your faithfulness opens doors for those who will walk after you. Picture a torch being passed in a relay race. One runner carries it faithfully, then hands it to the next. The flame does not diminish, it continues, often burning brighter. Your inheritance is that flame. You carry it now, but it will outlast you, illuminating the path for many. This is why you could not receive it sooner. A premature gift can be a burden instead of a blessing, like giving a crown to a child too small to bear its weight. Inheritance out of season can crush, but now you have grown. You have been tested, and your shoulders are strong enough to carry what belongs to you. Do not be surprised if you feel unworthy. Many do when inheritance arrives. But hear this clearly. Worthiness is not the condition. Identity is. You are an heir. And heirs receive not by merit, but by belonging. And so, the floodgates open. What was held back is released. What was delayed is delivered. What was promised is performed. Chosen one. Step into this truth with reverence, but also with joy. Your inheritance is here, and it is not just for survival, it is for overflow. From this day forward, lack will not define you. Barrenness will not mark you. You will walk as one who carries abundance, not because of striving, but because of birthright. This is the beauty of inheritance. It reminds you that you are not forgotten. It confirms that your story is not random. It declares that what belongs to you cannot be stolen, only delayed until the right season. And that season is now. Receive it with open hands. Do not shrink back, thinking it is too much. God is not wasteful. He gives in measure to your destiny. And if He pours this much now, it is because you are ready. Your inheritance is not a fragile gift. It is steady, abundant, and appointed. Carry it with gratitude. Carry it with courage. And remember, it was always meant for you. Victory does not end at the moment of breakthrough. It must be carried, lived, and walked out daily. Many people receive an answer to prayer, only to stumble because they do not know how to live as victors. But you are being called not only to receive victory, you are being called to embody it. To walk as a victor means to move differently. Your posture changes. Your words shift. Your mindset becomes anchored in truth, not tossed about by fear. It is not arrogance, it is awareness. You know what has been spoken over you, and you live from that place rather than striving to reach it. The Apostle Paul wrote in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 57, "But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ." Victory is not something you have to manufacture. It has already been given, but you must learn to wear it as a garment woven for you. Think of a soldier returning home after war. The medals pinned to his chest are not decorations for vanity. They are reminders of survival, proof of honor, and testimony of courage. When he walks through his city, he carries those medals with humility, knowing the cost they represent. That is how you must carry your victory. Not flaunting, not minimizing, but living as one who has endured and overcome. To walk as a victor also means you do not return to old chains. A freed prisoner does not voluntarily return to his cell. A healed person does not embrace sickness as identity again. Your breakthrough requires new habits, new boundaries, new ways of speaking about yourself. Imagine walking across a bridge that collapses once you reach the other side. There is no going back. You cannot cross again to the land of despair. You must keep moving forward. That is the essence of living in victory. You burn the bridges back to defeat. You may face resistance even after breakthrough. The enemy does not stop attacking simply because you won, but now the battle is different. You fight not to gain victory, but from victory, your foundation has shifted. Before, you wrestled to survive. Now, you stand as one who already carries authority. Think of David after slaying Goliath. The giant fell in one moment, but the years ahead required him to live as king in heart, long before the crown touched his head. He learned that victory was not a single day's triumph. It was a lifestyle. So it is for you. Your words will matter greatly in this season. Speaking as a victor means declaring life, not rehearsing loss. It means blessing instead of cursing, choosing gratitude instead of complaint. Each word becomes a brick that builds the house of your future. Your relationships will shift as well. Some will not understand the new you. The you who no longer bows to fear or limitation. Do not shrink to make them comfortable. You cannot dim the light that cost you so much to ignite. Walking as a victor sometimes means walking with fewer companions. But those who remain will be aligned with your destiny. There is also humility required. Victory is not a license for pride. It is a call to service. You have been strengthened not only for yourself, but also for others. The authority you carry is meant to lift, to encourage, to guide. To walk as a victor is to extend a hand to those still trapped where you once stood. Picture a torchbearer in a marathon. He does not hold the flame for himself alone. It lights the path for every runner behind him. That is you now. Your fire is not just your testimony. It becomes a guide for others, still running their race. And remember, walking as a victor will demand continual alignment with God. You cannot sustain this life by your own strength. The same power that won the battle must carry you forward. Each day becomes an act of surrender, choosing His voice, His wisdom, His pace. Chosen one. Victory is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a greater chapter. You will live as proof that God restores, redeems, and empowers. Your life will not be defined by survival anymore. It will be defined by authority, by light, by purpose. So rise into this identity fully. Walk tall. Speak truth. Guard the ground you have gained. And let your every step testify. The victor is not just crowned. The victor is alive. And the victor is you. When the light of your destiny begins to shine, it does not stay hidden. Nations notice. Voices echo. Doors open. And what once felt so small, so quiet, suddenly carries a weight beyond borders. You begin to realize your life was never meant to be a single candle. It was meant to be part of a constellation, seen from afar, guiding others home. This is the truth of your journey now. You have been crowned not only for yourself, but for the impact your story will carry into the lives of others. And impact is never silent. It multiplies. The prophet Isaiah declared in chapter 60, verse 3, "Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn." What you carry cannot remain invisible. It was never designed to. And here is where your role becomes holy partnership. To let the light spread. Think of a ripple in water. One stone dropped into a still pond creates circles that expand far beyond the point of impact. That is what happens when you engage. When you like this message, it is not a meaningless gesture. It is a ripple. It tells the unseen world, this light matters. Let it travel further. No. And when you share, the ripple expands even wider. Imagine handing someone a key they didn't know they needed. They unlock the door to encouragement, to strength, to hope. Your act of sharing is like leaving a lamp burning in the window for a traveler lost in the dark. When you subscribe, it is more than clicking a button. It is like choosing to return again and again to a well where the water is clear and life-giving. You know that thirst will come again. So you tie yourself to a source that will not run dry. Subscription is consistency. It is choosing to remain close to the flame that already warmed you. And then there is giving, donating. This is where many feel hesitation. But let me speak it gently. Donating is not about pressure. It is about beauty. Think of it as placing another log on a fire. You already enjoy the warmth. You already see the light. And when you add your own piece, the flame grows stronger, higher, brighter, not only for you, but for everyone gathered around. Or think of an old village well. Everyone drinks freely from it, but someone, out of love, throws in a coin, not because they had to, but because they want to keep the well cared for, to ensure that when the next thirsty traveler arrives, the water still flows. That is what your donation is. It sustains the stream, so others may drink. But remember, this is always a choice of love, a choice of gratitude, a choice of partnership. If you are not in a place to give, you are no less chosen, no less covered, no less loved. The victory over your life does not depend on your action. Here it is already sealed. Yet if your heart stirs, let it be an act of worship, not of obligation. A seed planted in gratitude always grows into something greater. And here is something deeper. When you comment, you also leave behind markers of your journey. Your words become a testimony written in stone. Someone will pass by, read them, and whisper, if they could believe, so can I. Len, so I invite you, write in the comments, light still shines. Len, why this phrase? Because it carries truth that darkness cannot erase. It is simple, but powerful. By declaring light still shines, you remind your own heart that hope survived the storm. And you announce to others that no matter how heavy the night feels, the dawn has already broken. Your comment will not vanish into empty space. It will stand like a lantern by the road, guiding those who stumble, lifting those who feel forgotten. Words that short can echo louder than long speeches, because truth needs no excess to be strong. You see, everything we do, whether liking, sharing, subscribing, donating, or even commenting, is not small. It is eternal. It becomes part of the tapestry heaven is weaving. Threads of light stitched across lives that will never be the same again. So do not think of this as obligation. See it as invitation, not a demand, but a chance to partner with a story greater than your own. You are already a victor, already chosen. These actions simply become ways of saying, I will let my victory light someone else's path. End of 2. And when you choose freely, it is beautiful. Heaven delights in love that flows without compulsion. Every ripple you create, every flame you feed, every word you write, becomes fragrance rising before God. Chosen one. Your story is not just survival, it is signal fire. And when many signal fires burn together, nations cannot ignore the glow. There is a sacred moment when the final seal is pressed. What God declares cannot be undone by man, cannot be revoked by enemies, cannot be shaken by storms. That is the moment you are entering now. Destiny is not fragile, it is sealed. The world around you may shift like sand in the wind, but the word spoken over your life is not built on sand. It is carved into stone. Heaven has etched your name into promises that cannot fade. No force, no voice, no circumstance can erase what has already been decreed. Think of a royal document in ancient times. Once the king pressed his seal into wax. The words were considered law. No scribe could alter it. No citizen could contest it. It was binding, unshakable. In the same way, God's seal rests upon your destiny. What he has written stands firm across eternity. The letter to the Hebrews, chapter 6, verse 19, speaks with this clarity. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. That anchor is not tied to shifting ground, it is tied to the unmovable throne of God. Your life, your calling, your inheritance, all are anchored there. This is why the attacks of the past could not destroy you. They tried to loosen the anchor, but it held. They tried to cut the rope, but heaven tied it stronger. Even in your weakest hour, the seal and the anchor remained. That is why you are still here, standing, breathing, preparing for the unveiling. Sometimes it may feel as though the delay means denial, but hear this: delay does not cancel destiny. It only proves that timing is sacred. Seeds planted in spring may not bloom until summer, but the bloom is guaranteed. So it is with you. The season of sprouting is finally here. Imagine a vault, locked tight for years. Inside are treasures, jewels, documents, heirlooms that belong to you by right. Others may wonder why the vault remained closed for so long. But now, at the appointed time, the key turns. The door opens, and what was hidden is revealed. That vault is your life. What God placed inside it was never lost, only preserved until now. Your destiny is sealed not only for your sake, but also as a witness to others. People will look at you and see living proof that God's promises do not return void. They will marvel at how what was once fragile has become unbreakable. They will see the mark of heaven upon you. And yet, the seal is not just protection, it is empowerment. To be sealed means you are authorized. Just as a royal messenger carries letters bearing the king's seal, you too carry authority. When you speak life, it carries weight. When you declare truth, it echoes with heaven's backing. You are no longer a wandering voice, you are a voice sealed with authority. Think of Esther. For years, she lived hidden, her identity unknown. But when the moment came, her place in the palace was revealed as destiny. Her courage saved a nation because the seal of God's timing was upon her. Your life carries a similar weight. You may not yet see the fullness, but heaven has already marked it. There is great peace in knowing nothing can undo what has been written. Enemies might rage. People may misunderstand. Circumstances may shake. But the seal holds. Even your own doubts cannot erase it. God's covenant does not rest on your perfection. It rests on His unchanging word. This truth allows you to walk in rest. Not the rest of inactivity, but the rest of assurance. You no longer need to strive to prove yourself. The seal proves you are chosen. You no longer need to fear being forgotten. The anchor proves you are remembered. And so, step into this next chapter with confidence. Not reckless confidence, but holy boldness. Carry yourself as one whose destiny is not in question. Move as one who knows the ink on the scroll of heaven has already dried. Chosen one. The seal is set. The anchor holds. And nothing, no storm, nor delay, no enemy can tear from you what God has secured. You can breathe freely now. The fight was long, but the outcome is sealed. Your life is no longer defined by uncertainty, it is defined by covenant. And covenant does not bend, does not break, does not expire. So lift your head, walk with steady steps. Know that what covers you is eternal, and what carries you is unshakable. The seal is proof that heaven's hand will never leave you. There is a moment when the journey you have walked, the nights of waiting, the valleys of tears, the years of silence culminates in glory. That moment is now. You step forward, not as the one who barely survived, but as the one who carries a crown of fire. The crown you wear is not metal forged by human hands. It is fire, alive and burning. A sign that you have passed through trials that could have consumed you, but instead refined you. Fire that once threatened to destroy you has become the very flame that marks you. The prophet Zechariah recorded a vision in chapter 2, verse 5. "And I myself will be a wall of fire around it, declares the Lord, and I will be its glory within." End of. This is your reality. Fire surrounds you, not to harm, but to protect. Glory dwells within you, not to fade, but to shine. Your crown of fire is proof that heaven has not only preserved you, but empowered you. Think of the blacksmith once more. He takes raw metal, places it in the furnace, and hammers it into shape. Each strike is painful to the metal, yet necessary. Finally, when the form is right, he plunges it into the fire one last time, not to break it, but to strengthen it. That last fire is what crowns it with resilience. The same has been true for you. The furnace you endured was never to end you, it was to crown you. This crown is not for display, it is for purpose. When you walk, the fire declares to every unseen realm, this one belongs to God. This one carries his authority. This one is untouchable. It is both a mantle and a message, a signal that you are no longer hidden. Picture a lighthouse again, its flame burning atop the tower. The waves still crash, the winds still howl, but the fire continues. Sailors miles away see it and find their way. Your crown of fire makes you that beacon, without needing to shout, without striving. Your life itself will guide others toward safety. You may feel unworthy of such a crown, manido. But hear this, worthiness was never the condition. The crown rests not because you earned it, but because you endured, because you did not quit when quitting seemed easier, because you allowed the fire to refine rather than consume. The crown of fire also carries responsibility. Fire spreads. It cannot remain contained. As you move forward, your flame will ignite others. Some will draw near and catch the spark. Others may resist, even fear it. Do not be surprised. Fire comforts the cold, but unsettles the complacent. Think of Moses descending the mountain, his face radiant after encountering God. The people could not look at him directly, not because he sought attention, but because the glory was undeniable. Your crown will have the same effect. Some will celebrate, others will retreat, but all will recognize the mark upon you. And yet, the fire does not consume you. It does not burn you out. It is a holy fire, sustained by heaven itself. You do not need to strive to keep it burning. You need only remain aligned, remain faithful, remain surrendered. The same God who lit the flame will keep it alive. This is the chapter you step into now, crowned, refined, burning with glory, not for the sake of pride, but for the sake of purpose. Nations will notice, generations will be touched. Your life will testify that fire can refine, that crowns can be forged in hidden places, and that destiny sealed by God cannot be erased. Chosen one, you wear the crown of fire. Walk forward, not in fear, but in certainty. The world awaits the light only you can release. And remember this, fire never asks permission to shine. It simply burns. That is what your crown does. Now it burns as a living testimony. You no longer need to prove who you are. The flame itself declares it. Everywhere you go, atmospheres will shift. Darkness will retreat without explanation. People will feel peace near you, not because of your words alone, but because of the fire resting upon you. This is not a burden, it is a blessing. You are not carrying weight that will crush you. You are carrying light that will guide you. And as long as you walk in step with the one who lit the flame, your crown will never dim. Step boldly. Crowned one, the world is waiting, and heaven has already gone before you. Your crown of fire is both your covering and your calling. Chosen one, the journey of these words has reached its close, but your journey forward has only just begun. You have walked through hidden seasons, endured refining fires, and stepped into the glory of victory. Now, you stand crowned not with fear, but with fire. But remember, fire shines brightest when it spreads. That is why I invite you to let this flame go further. When you like this message, it is not a small gesture. It is as though you are pressing your hand against the flame and saying, "Yes, keep burning." End quote. When you share, it is like passing a torch into another's night. You never know whose path will be lit, whose tears will find comfort, whose spirit will rise because of a single act of kindness. When you subscribe, think of it as returning again and again to a well of living water. It is a decision to stay near the source, to drink deeply whenever thirst comes again. And when you donate, if your heart stirs, see it as planting a seed back into the very garden that has nourished you. Not obligation, never pressure, but a beautiful choice. Your seed ensures that the river continues to flow, that the light never runs dry for those still searching. And finally, when you comment, you write your testimony into the story. Even a simple phrase can become a lantern for someone else scrolling in silence, wondering if God still speaks. So I invite you, write in the comments, "Victory is mine." Lo, why this phrase? Because it is short, but it seals your journey. By declaring "Victory is mine," you remind yourself that defeat no longer has power over you. You testify that every battle shaped you, every tear watered your harvest, and every trial delivered you to this moment. And for someone else reading, those 3 words might be the lifeline they need. They may whisper it too, and in doing so, courage will rise within them. That is how your comment becomes more than words. It becomes light. So carry this with you. Every action you take, every choice you make here, is eternal. You are not just receiving, you are partnering with heaven to spread fire across the earth. Your crown burns, your light shines, and the world is waiting.